no official, and still has been no official word on Jason Varitek yet. So was it surprising at the time to get the call, knowing that maybe Varitek was going back? Because we didn't know yet what was happening.
It's really not my place to even go there. They asked me to do a job. I signed on to do a job and an opportunity and a place. You know, honestly, to win a World Series, the team is quite capable with the talent that's here. If everyone stays healthy, there's no doubt that we'll compete for the postseason.
Is it important to you in spring training to look at some of the pitches from power pitchers that you might not have seen a lot, like Daniel Bard's changeup or Andrew Miller's curveball, pitches like that? Is it very important for you to catch them on the side before you go into games? Yeah,
without a doubt. I mean, especially with that guys with that type of velocity. The first time I squatted for Daniel Bard, the first 2 balls beat me. Not like whizzed by me, but I didn't expect him to get there that fast. On the side, you know, we understand he throws hard, and I've never faced him, so I didn't understand how the ball explodes out of his hand and it gets to you in a hurry. So it's very valuable, especially for those guys who are competing for not only jobs but positions. I want them to be as comfortable as they can be, so I'm going to try to speed up the process of learning them here in the first few weeks before we even start games, because it is so valuable for them to be comfortable on the mound with a new catcher, not understanding how I communicate and how I need to communicate with them so that they can get out there and just be comfortable and compete for that spot or that job that they want.
One of the things that Bobby Valentine wants to do is have more discussion groups between catchers and pitchers. Do you think that's important?
I think it's invaluable. I mean, knowing exactly what he wants to do on the mound, him understanding exactly what I'm telling him without me running to the mound, with how my body language is, or my hand signs, or my face, or how I give the signs, all those things that we can communicate to each other and try to get some of the kinks out of the way before you actually get onto the field. I think you can't replace those things, because ultimately you want to be able to trust one another to where you don't have any doubts. If I call a pitch, the pitcher hopefully understands that I've put the work in, I've done everything that I can to call a pitch, to put him in a situation to succeed, and being able to communicate with them more hopefully will give them that comfort in me to be able to just trust me and go along with the game plan.
Over your years catching, who's the most comfortable pitcher that you've ever caught?
Easily Cliff Lee. When you don't have to move your glove, it's pretty easy. He makes you look really good.
Now, one thing we've talked about in light of what happened to Buster Posey, have you changed your style at all, receiving with a guy coming down the line?
No way. No way. And that may be my roots or how I was brought up, but that's our plate, and every run is valuable, especially in this division. Having some years in this division, understanding how one-run games affect not only that particular game, that week, that series, but in this case, that season, it's valuable. Every run matters, and I'm not just going to give one away. It's important to me to protect that plate at all costs.
When you get ready for this season, you've become so good at throwing guys out. One of the best in the game last year. How do you work on that, and how do you get yourself ready for the season when you're working with a different pitching staff now?
Well, timing. I think a lot of it has to do with timing. You get comfortable with guys and you know how they slide step or their long step. And you really, that's one position that you can't practice in the offseason. You've got to play games. You've got to get out there and get in the bullpen and work on blocking balls and work on your footwork and your transfer. It's really hard to simulate that, the catching side, defensive skills side in the offseason. So it's really important for us, and Gary Tuck is out there with us every day going through all the rigor so that when we do step into games, we've done as much prep work as we can. And really the most valuable thing is the throws in between innings.
How much do you have to work on when you come to a new team? How much work do you have to do with the infielders so they understand how you throw and you understand which guys will take throws in the back of the bag, which guys take throws in front of the bag?
Well, ideally, we'd like everybody to take throws on the bag. It's just simple physics. The quickest thing is just wait for the ball to get there and drop your glove down on it. You know. Some guys do it differently, but that's depending on positioning sometimes. So I hope that we get a relationship at least comfortable enough to where I can just throw the ball down there and trust that they'll be in position to make a play.
It is a very important part of the game, though, isn't it?
It is one of the few plays in baseball where it is a total team effort to throw a guy out at second base. Starting with the pitcher and his time to the plate, the catcher and his transfer and throw to second base, and the guy down at second base handling the throw and putting down the tag. It takes 3 people to make one out there. So it is one of the few plays in baseball that we really need everybody working together.
I want to ask you finally here, before we head to break, Carl Crawford was just here, and he talked about last year and admitted probably put more pressure on himself because of the new place, the new contract. Wasn't the same player in the clubhouse as well as on the field he'd been in the past. You played with him 2 years ago. Tell us the Carl Crawford you saw in Tampa.
Well, sure. I mean, coming from what is Tampa and what is New England, there is quite a bit of difference, and if you have to get adjusted to that, it can be a challenge. And if you had never had to deal with that type of pressure, because it doesn't happen at the field, it happens at Dunkin' Donuts, it happens at the grocery store. Everywhere you go, you feel the pressure of everyone in the whole area because the fans are so educated. And it's a totally different atmosphere for a player who's never been involved in that type of media, and the fans being that knowledgeable, and quite honestly, the pressure to win games. And if you're not contributing to winning those games, you feel more of that. And that's despite being a free agent coming in. And but one thing about Carl is he works harder than anyone that I've ever seen, and people that have played with him will testify to that as well. It doesn't matter what he did last year, he would have worked this year to have a better year.